Hey, it's exactly 6:15, and this is this is still yesterday to me. So listen, I want to clarify some things. The sun is coming up, and that beautiful color over there. I want to clarify some things. I was working on some things. I still have a little bit of work to do now that I think about it. But anyway, I want to clarify exactly what I said. I think, this has been a growing experience for me because some things that I didn't see before are revealing themselves to me. And I've talked about flesh versus spirit, right? And everybody, I said everybody has that struggle. It's part of our nature. Even as you become a spiritual man as opposed to a natural man, which is nature and do things that is just to the nature of your flesh. And I've heard it a million times and understood it, but for some reason it is really hitting home with me now. It's like, there is really two kinds of man. And I think that when we talk Adam and Eve, that there were already, if you read the Bible, there were already men here in the time of Adam and Eve. And what it says is God made them. Adam being a very generic name for a man. But there were already men. And, some people will call them heathens or whatever. I don't particularly like the name heathen either. But, that's the way, it is very, very direct in what they said. And basically, in some instances, and you can go on YouTube and just put in Satanism, some of those people there who are considered heathen served other gods, but those gods were very specific. Some of those gods were devil, Baal, and all of that stuff, and and so that stuff is very real, and it was very real at the time. But my point right now is that when I said stuff about subhuman, I kept thinking to myself, well, maybe I should retract that. Maybe I should take that down because, it automatically sends up a flare because of the terminology, the word subhuman. And I understand that, and people will say, oh, this is black and blah, 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 blah. Oh, you shouldn't because you're black and black like that and all of that stuff. That was real, and I'm telling you, what I'm saying is not new. What I'm saying, I was taught when I was in a public school system, probably third or fourth grade, that the one thing that divided black people, as them basically calling us subhuman and not human beings, that we were actually monkeys and things like that. What divided that was actually being called subhuman. The main factor that disproved is procreation. Now, marriage is an institution that is the sanctimonium of procreation. It's generally, if you marry, you'll get if you look up in Wikipedia, part of marriage is procreation, is creating, be fruitful and multiply. That is part of what marriage is about. The core of it, okay, is that. And matter of fact, that's all God said: is be fruitful and multiply, have kids and make many of them. And God, He doesn't say have one or two kids. He's multiples. He does things in multiples. God's math of blessing is in multiples. So you're supposed to have a number of kids, right? So here is a situation where we have sexuality that does not procreate, no matter how you put it. It's against the laws of even nature. So even if you're not a spiritual man, which I really beginning to understand that that is someone who is that's the part of man, the type of man that is God-like. Understand his acknowledge and presence of God. Okay, and then you have the other kind of man that has no God, no understanding of presence of God. The Darwinist theories and Darwinism that says you're a monkey, and that you're an animal, or that you're a beast, and that you can act like any other beast or any animal. Now, I really think that that's funny, considering that when we talk about these Vera chips and tagging, the government and the tagging Vera chips is like tagging people like animals and cattle and like they're beasts. And the one thing that's going to divide the two. So they say if you don't stand for something, you'll fall for anything. People who are going to agree with that, going to say it's okay, are people who don't have any God-like nature, has any belief system, and see absolutely nothing wrong to be tagged like an animal, to put a tag on you, and they're doing it to children and stuff. They're already taking DNA of children when the children is born. They're also taking fingerprints or footprints. They used to do that. But now they're taking DNA samples. DNA. The next is to put a chip in your child, your little kid, and it is to tag them. It is to brand them like ownership. So this whole thing to me is part of this this homosexual movement is a part of the affiliation of being a beast. It has everything to do with that. And part of that is to have no differentiation between sex. No differentiation. It's just totally confused and blur the line. And you know that with the shows like The Simpsons, it was the attack against the man, not the woman. They never attack the woman. They never say the woman is the dog, the woman is the lowlife, on the television. It's very feminist in this movement. But to really defeat the family, you have to defeat the protector of the family, which is the man. So all of this really tied in. But, I kept saying, well, I want to retract this thing about subhuman. Now, dogs and animals, a man can't have with a subhuman, a beast. A man can't have if a man, and they do have sex, like we saw the homosexual guy that got his guts ripped out by a horse. That's homosexual. He was bent over and having a horse. I guess they still call it a penis. They should have called it a flagpole. Anyway, he shoved the horse through the man's gut, and the man died. So he had sex with a beast. But let's say if it was successful, there's no way that they can have any kind of offspring or anything like that. Okay, they can't actually procreate. So we know that those animals are subhuman. Okay, but that very act of partaking with that is subhuman. So what my point is that women are men are different, and so there's the human nature of that. The human nature of sex and marriage and procreation is the higher calling of man, or the God-like man. Okay, it's the sanctimonious thing of creating life is the best thing that the man can do. When I was a little kid, they said, well, and I used to be Catholic, and they said, well, your last sacrament is marriage. That's the last sacred thing. After that, you can say nothing's sacred. If that goes, then nothing is sacred. That's the last sacrament that you'll take as a child. That's the one that I had to look forward to. Possibly. I don't know. But if nobody, marriage hasn't come my way, but well, I can't say that, but Anyway, so here it is a humane. That's humane. Okay, and the other behavior of what does not create life is inhumane. So the state to protect inhumane behavior is not, it's not a human, it's not something that projects life, creates life. So it's not protecting human rights. People can fool around and do what they want. And you see, we've made the mistake by giving them children life that they can't create. They should have never gotten those benefits. Now they're trying to take the benefits away from the Catholic Church because the state, if they do pass this law, then by the state, anybody who believes in God and believes out of homosexuality will be persecuted. This is how serious this is. And this is why we're taking, and we've known this for a long time until we got this weak ass governor, blind, doesn't respect his I'm talking blind in the head, doesn't respect marriage, and is doing anything to get votes. And so he's causing all this controversy, this Governor Patterson, to bring this, all of a sudden, to bring this for the state, He's a puppet, and he's being used, and and God forgive me, I don't want to call anybody less than a man, but which would not be right for me to do. But I really, his behavior is unbecoming of a godlike man or any kind of godlike nature. A natural beast, yes, fine. A carnal. So what they do, they say the natural man and natural humanity and the unnatural. And I really think that there is a difference between the two. God bless you all. Love you all.